In this video I would like to show the latest possibilities in historian trending of SpiderControl. We have two different trend controls. This is the simple trend control, which shows us a historical recording from the SCADA server. We can scroll and zoom, and we can also save the data locally as a CSV file. We have a new trend control which has additional possibilities. First, we have a selection from trend recordings which are designated in plain text. We can change to a configuration modus which shows us all available trends which are recorded in this SCADA server. We can select up to 10 of these trends with their specific properties, and they can be stored locally in the SCADA server. We can zoom and scroll and load. We have a ruler function which shows the values of the curve at this specific position. And we have new and online mode which allows to change from a historical view of the trend to the actual position of the values. So we can switch between historic and online mode, which can be very useful. Now, how do we program this? I will show that with our new version 7 HMI editor. The first thing we need to do is to go to trend configuration. So we have to configure the trend logger. We have to indicate which variable names that need to be recorded historically. The first thing is to indicate the variable name, the PPO name. We have new this freely definable text which will deliver this designation where we can choose from online. So this parameter here will define the size of the ring buffer which is used for the recording of this trend. So the first thing is the buffer size of the RAM buffer. We will use a size of 10 kilobyte. So the logger will record up to 10 kilobyte in the RAM buffer and then write one file to the file system. This is the number of files that we will use for this trend log, so that will be 10 times 12k, which is 120k, and one sample will take 25 bytes. So together with the sample rate, which is 1 second here, this will design the depth of this historical recording. We'll add this configuration. We will add a second variable where we modify the designative text. So this is the slow counter. We will add a third variable which is a reverse counter. We'll add that. So now our historical trending configuration for the logger is complete, and we can now move over to choose macros to display this data. We have new this macro selection dialog with several topics. We will change to the historical trend topic. So the first trend that we see here is this simple trend, which we can just select, press OK. So this enters the object in this configuration dialog. We just have to indicate the trend record numbers, so it's 1, 2 and 3. We have the parameters from minimum and maximum and the color with which the trend will be shown. We have the y-axis description which we can choose, and the macro is now ready. We can position it. We will go to the second page and we'll enter the more complex, more sophisticated trend macro. We have to move to next generation historical trends. We have two different options to select from. The first object will store the temporary selection of the trends only during your session, and if you close the browser session, the selection will be lost. The second will store your selection permanently inside the SCADA server, so this allows for keeping a specific selection for a longer period of time. We'll insert that macro. We also have a configuration dialog with a couple of options. We can, for instance, choose only one y-axis description, which will be applied to all trends. We can choose whether we want to start directly in the online mode, and the last option should actually not be used because it's not supported in all servers. So the control is now ready for use, and we can make a build of our project and download it to the SCADA server. So the build is done. We can choose a HTTP download to the server, so this will download our HMI files, and the second download will send the logo configuration and the designations of the trend curves. So every time I've made a change to this logo configuration, we have to download it again, and we need to restart the SCADA server in order to get the new configuration active. So if we go to the browser and reload the HMI, we will see the result of our modifications which we just did.